Hey, it's Penny, and welcome back to Alive a Day for the month of May. Chaos Coordinator. So, the last couple of days we've been talking about eggs, but I haven't had the opportunity to show you about eggs because my refrigerator bit the dust and my kitchen was completely topsy-turvy due to the fact that my kitchen was all torn up because of the fridge. So today we're going to continue to talk about eggs, and I'm going to demonstrate a couple of things about eggs that you need to know. And the first thing I need to do is get an egg out of the fridge. So I'll be right back. So the very first thing that I want to talk about is are your eggs fresh? Now, a lot of us, when we buy eggs or we buy anything, we look for an expiration date. So this particular group of eggs says best by June 14th. So when they were packaged, I couldn't tell you to save my life, but like it says, best by June 14th. So how do you tell if an egg is fresh? So bear with me a second. So can you see this glass of water? Okay. So the one way you can tell if an egg is still fresh or good to use is what's known as the float test. Okay, so you're going to take an egg. Now these eggs are rather old. They've been in my fridge for a little bit, and they survived fridge crash-ogeddon, I guess. So they've had some exposure. They've had some adventures in temperatures. So let's see how they do. So you place the egg in the water. Now, if the egg goes all the way to the bottom, then it's a very fresh egg. This egg, as you can see, isn't that fresh because it just got stuck in the middle. So hold on, make it a slightly bigger bowl. Let's try this again. Okay, let's try something a little bit bigger, because maybe the egg just got stuck. So here's our egg again. We place it in the water, and as you can see, it sinks. So that means this egg is still fresh and good enough to eat. Okay, so here we have some brand new eggs that I just purchased, and I'm going to put them in, and they're standing up on end. So they're not laying flat, they're standing up on end. So these are also fairly fresh eggs. Now, I think it's interesting because I cracked one of these eggs in the quiches that I'm currently cooking, and it just exploded. And that's usually the sign that an egg is a little bit older. So, so the next thing I'm going to demonstrate for you. Okay, so we saw that if they sink, they're good. If they float all the way to the top, then they are expired. You don't want to eat an egg that floats all the way to the top. Now, I was discussing the other day about the difference between a thick white and a thin white and the yolk and the membrane and everything. So I'm going to break open this egg so you guys can see what I was talking about the last couple of days. So I just made a little crack in it. I'm sticking my thumbs in the crack, and I'm going to pull the two sides apart. Okay, so this, can you see that very thin membrane directly underneath the shell? Can you see that? That's the membrane that I was telling you about. So that's basically the embryonic sac from the creation of the egg. You can see it a little bit better. See in the back there? You can see that kind of like there's a little membrane in there. So that membrane is what keeps the chick inside the egg while the egg is doing the egg thing that the egg does. Now, this egg is a really good example of a thick white and a thin white. So I'm going to turn you around so you can see it. So hold on just a second. And we're going to flip. And I'm going to show you. So you see here, this is what's known as the thin white. And then this thicker part is what's known as the thick white. So as an egg gets older, this gets less and less, and this becomes more and more. And then this is what's known as the yolk. And then this little white bit, that's the umbilical cord, for lack of a better term. And some people find that unappealing and will remove it. But, you know, it doesn't really matter. It's all protein. And it's all going to go in the same place anyways. But, you know, if you're picky and if you want things to be elegant, then, you know, you take that little white thing off. So, the next thing we talked about the other day was a poached egg. So, what I've got in here is I have got 5 eggs. They're at room temperature, and I put them in cool water, and I'm going to set them on to boil. Now, what's cool about my stove is that it has 2 settings. It has big and it has a small. So if I'm using a big pan, I can use the big. If I'm using a small pan, I can use the small. And then the small is what is known as a rapid boil. I know, really. So anyways, so I put that on to rapid boil. And the next thing I'm going to talk about, okay, so we talked about the eggs. Now these eggs are jumbo. This is a jumbo egg. And I'm going to get you a large egg so you can see the difference. And this is what's known as a large egg. So you can see that they're just a tiny bit difference in size. And I'm going to get out the scale so we can weigh them and we can discuss the difference. Okay? Now, you know what? I am not sure where my scale is because my scale got moved. Oh, there's my scale. Okay. I thought my scale got moved during the fridge-orama. So anyways, so I've got my scale and I'm going to turn it on and I am going to put the jumbo egg on the scale. The jumbo egg is coming at 2.36 ounces. Okay, now I'm going to put the large egg on the scale and it's coming out to 2.08. Now, Mother Nature does not tell a chicken to make a 2-ounce egg. She doesn't. She goes, yeah, make an egg. And so sometimes the eggs come out really large, sometimes the eggs come out small, sometimes the eggs come out really weird shape, and sometimes the eggs have 2 yolks. You know, there's all kinds of interesting things that happens. One of the things that egg manufacturers do is what's known as candling. They shine a very bright light at the egg, and they can see what's going on inside the egg. They can see if it's a double yolk, and then they'll send that off to a manufacturer. They won't sell that in the grocery store. Or they'll see if it's fertilized, which means that there's kind of some blood in there, which means it's a whole starting, or it's a chick, you know. So, but you know, I've heard stories of people buying like commercial quail eggs and giving them to their parakeets, and they hatch. So you never know. Sometimes you might actually get a chick out of an egg. But, you know, most of these are not fertilized. So most of the eggs that you buy commercially are not fertilized. The eggs that you buy from your neighbor who lets their chicken just be a chicken and eat the bugs and the seeds and the plants and everything that they just throw out there, now those are good eggs. My girlfriend Debbie, she used to sell me eggs from her chickens. Oh my friggin' God. those were the best eggs. And they were blue, and they were green, and they were white, and they were brown, and it all depended on the type of chicken is gonna make different kind of eggs. So yeah, off scale, off. Okay, whatever. It's gonna auto off. So anyway, so that's how you tell if your eggs are old. You float them in water. If they sink, they're good. If they come up to the top, they're not good. All right. So the next thing that we're gonna do, so we've got our eggs cooking. They haven't come to a boil yet. Because once they come to a boil, what are we gonna do? What did we say last night? Pop quiz? Pop quiz? Yeah. So what we're gonna do is we're going to put the lid on and we're gonna let them sit with the heat off for 12 minutes. Okay, but we're not ready yet because it's not at a full boil. So we're gonna move on to the next thing. The next thing that we're making with eggs tonight is a quiche. Now the thing is, quiches are absolutely wonderful. They're great for using up the crap in your fridge that you kind of don't know what to do with. And since right now I've got a lot of crap in my fridge, or should I say some questionable items in my fridge that survived the Frigigeddon, that you know, I just need to use things up. So I decided a quiche is a wonderful way of using stuff up. So bear with me just a second. So for your entertainment pleasure, I have a quiche started, and I already have one in the oven. I don't think my timing is perfect that I'm going to be able to do the television trick of here's the fresh one, and as we put the the other one in. Well, I'm not ready for that yet. But anyways, so what I've got is I have all the ingredients to make a pie crust. I'm not going to make a pie crust, okay? I don't want to, because it's a pain, and you gotta get flour, and you gotta do this, and you gotta put the fat into the flour, and you gotta add salt, and you gotta do this, and you gotta do that, and then you gotta roll it out with the rolling pin, and then you gotta put it in your pie pan. You gotta find your pie pan, and you put it in the pie pan. It's like, ugh, I'd much rather buy just the crust. So this is a rich deep dish, and what I've done is I've pre-baked it. Now, anytime you're doing any kind of custard pie, this be a pumpkin pie, custard pie, any pie that has kind of a juicy filling. Oh, do you hear that noise? It is a boiling egg. Hold on, follow me. Okay, so as you can see, our eggs are now boiling. So what are we going to do? We're going to put on the lid. We're going to turn off the juice. We are not going to remove it from the burner because we're counting on that residual heat from the heating element into the water, into the boiling water, into the eggs. And we're going to set our timer for 12 minutes. Timer, 12, timer. Okay, so our timer's going. And just this is a sneak peek of what's going on. Ooh, we might actually be able to do the pull and pull, but I don't know. We'll see. All right. So, anyways, so the first thing that you do is you take your pie crust, and then, I don't know if you can see this or not, but can you see there's little holes poked in it? I took a fork and I poked holes in it, and the reason for this, one, the egg is going to fill those holes. Okay, some people are like, oh, you never poke holes in a custard pie. I don't care. I've always poked holes. And the reason for that is it saves you from using pie weights. Like, putting foil on your pastry and covering it with beans or little ceramic pebbles or whatever so that it doesn't poof. Just poke some friggin' holes in it. It's not going to poof. All right. So then I blanch cooked it for about 10 minutes or until it's set. Okay, so now it's not soft in any way, shape, or form. It's set. Okay, and so that's what you want. And in here, I've got a package of salad greens, I think field mix, and some onions that I sauteed up in the bacon grease. And as you can see, there's bacon. Now, the next thing I'm going to do, traditional quiches usually have Swiss cheese in them, or the G one, Gruyere? Yeah, or something. But anyways, I've used cheddar. I've used pepper jack. If it's in my fridge, it goes in my quiche. I don't care. So anyways, you know, so right now I have Swiss. So I usually use about a cup and a half. Who measures? I don't measure. Do you measure? I don't measure. What's the point of measuring? Who cares? It's a dash. So I have about, maybe closer to 2 cups, but like about a cup and a half of Swiss cheese. And you put it all in there and you make it pretty. So anyway, so the cheese is all in there, see? And it's covering up all the bacon and it's covering up the veggies. And here, oh, got a little more cheese. A little more cheese, a little more cheese. And here I've got 3 eggs and 1.5 cups of milk. So it's an egg to a half a cup of milk. So if you're making like an egg, you know, like a quiche casserole, then you can do, you know, however you do the math, but it's 1 egg to a half a cup of milk. So in this case, I have half and half. So I did, I originally made 6. So I originally made 2 quiches. So this is what's left over for making the other quiche, okay? So it was 6 eggs, 3 cups of milk, or 3 cups of liquid. In this case, I did 2 cups of half and half and 1 cup of water, because the half and half is concentrated and it has a higher fat content, and the water kind of loosens up a little bit. Kind of like if you were using evaporated milk, I'd kind of do a 1-to-1 in water to milk, just because that milk is so dense, and that's the thing with half and half, it's pretty dense. So we're just gonna pour that, and if you see little black fleckies in there, it's not buggers. It's not. It's some pepper, some ground pepper. So I ground that pepper in there. So you pour it in there gently, and because of that is because, you know, you don't want it to overflow, because if it overflows, then you end up having some drama, and we don't want drama in our oven. Okay, so we've got it in there, and it's pretty full. And the last thing that I want to do is add just a little tiny touch of paprika on the top to make it pretty. Yeah, we like pretty. So, and you can do different things on top. You know, you don't have to do this. You know, you can do spinach in there. You can do broccoli. You can do about anything. So I've got some smoked mild paprika. Now, I've got just a tiny bit on my spoon, and I'm going to tap it, and that's going to disperse it over the top without big old clumps of red all over. So this puppy's going in the oven, so bear with me. Hold on. Okay, so the other one isn't quite ready yet, but you know, so it's still a cooking. So we'll just kind of keep on going with the boiling guys. So our boiling guys have about 7 minutes left. Can I talk for 7 more minutes? I don't know. I can fry an egg. Do I want to fry an egg? Not really. No, I'm not gonna fry an egg. But so anyway, so you know, so remember, if it's fresh, you know. I'm not going to waste this egg. So, another wonderful way of using up eggs is making breakfast bakes, which is a crustless quiche. So, you can either make those in a muffin tin, or you can use these silicone puppies. And you would just make the exact same filling as if you were making a quiche, and then you would spray these with a little bit of non-stick, and then when they're done cooking, you just pop them out, and you put them in a Ziploc and grab a couple for breakfast, and it's a good high protein stack. And it's the same thing. It's the exact same ratio. You use a couple eggs. You can use this kind of egg too. You can use this kind of egg too, which is like, just like if you're just making an egg white thing. You remember when McDonald's came out with the egg white McMuffin? Because they were trying to be healthy? There's nothing wrong with an egg yolk. Egg yolk has good, healthy fats in it. It's got omega-3s, just like salmon, so it's really, really good for you. So don't be shying away from, you know, egg yolks unless you have like a genetic predisposition for cholesterol issues. Then you have to kind of worry about, you know, egg yolks. But for the most part, you know, the calories in an egg aren't that much. You know, it's like 100 calories per egg. You know, like these jumbos, the nutritional thingy says 90 calories per egg. You know, so yeah, like 100 calories. You know, there's a lot of crap you can eat for 100 calories. You know what 100 calories is? This much, a quarter cup of like peanuts or a slice of bread. You know, but if you eat an egg, it stays with you all day. You know, there's a European trick that if you want to lose weight, you start your day with 2 hard-boiled eggs. If you've ever seen that army diet, it's eggs. You eat eggs. You eat eggs and veggies, and for dinner you have chicken and some veggies and a piece of toast and ice cream. I never understood the ice cream thing. Probably to just make you not kill people, because you're so deprived of carbohydrates. Because, you know, carbohydrates work on your brain, because that's what your brain uses to eat. So when you don't eat carbohydrates, then your brain gets all, oh. So my sister's on. Hi, Troy. And then my cousin Susie's on. Hi. Haven't talked to you in forever. Hi, how you doing? So anyway, so the quiche is just about ready to pull out. So we're going to check it. I'm going to pull it out so we can check it. And if it is ready, then we're going to move on to the next phase with the quiche. Okay, so bear with me as I go recover the quiche. Hold on. Okay, this is a little more pale than I like, but this is how you test if it's done. You can press on it, and if your finger goes in, so see how I'm like, meet. I'm pressing on it. My finger's not going in. It's not making a dent that stays. If it makes a dent that stays, it is so not ready. Okay, this one's almost ready. So we're going to move on to the second test. The second test is either using a toothpick or a knife, inserting it and seeing if it comes out clean. So we're going to poke on in there, and it's come out clean. See? There's nothing sticking to it. So this is essentially done, but it needs a little more GBD for my happiness. So we're going to stick it back in the oven for just a couple more minutes, because it's almost done. It's almost done. Probably by the time the hard-boiled eggs are done, then this puppy's going to be ready to rock and roll. And did you notice I didn't put on a timer for the other quiche? You know why? Because I know what the hell I'm doing. So I have made 1 million quiches. 1 million. So I know what the hell I'm doing. And I know what I'm looking for. Because you know what happens when you cook, and you cook a lot, and you cook every day? You know what the hell you're doing. And so when somebody gives you like a weird recipe, oh, hey, Travis, be safe. Weather out there is kind of scary. So Travis, one of my old drivers, he loves watching these videos. I just think it's great. Makes me smile. So he says he's driving down the road going to Temple. So Temple is north of us. So anyways, I'll tell you my story about quiche. Okay. So my dad, he retired from the first aerospace company that he worked for, which was Aerojet. And for those of you who ever saw Mad Men, that they were talking, they did like a grand tour to California, and they were talking about Aerojet, and I was dying. I'm just like, oh my God. And then one of the characters, he had like these mid-century, like these wooden triangles, and in the middle was a cutout. And they came in 2 styles. They either had the chess pieces or they had the suits of playing cards. And I think my dad had the chess piece ones, because my dad liked to play chess. And those things are selling for like $200 on eBay. And I'm like, you know, because I was like thinking, yeah. So that is what I'm trying to manifest at the thrift stores and my estate shopping, is a set of those mid-century triangles. So, or diamonds. They're actually diamond shapes. But anyway, so during his intermission between working for Aerojet and then moving on to another aerospace company called Western Gear. For those of you who aren't familiar with Western Gear, with Aerojet, Aerojet was the company that worked with NASA to make the lunar lander, the Eagle. Okay, and the Eagle, remember the Eagle has landed in Houston, we have a problem, and you know, all of that. That was Aerojet. So my dad was, you know, working on the government contracts and working with the engineers to make the Eagle that landed on the friggin' moon. That was my dad. Yeah. Hold on. We gotta check our eggs. So, our hard-boiled eggs have boiled. And they haven't split. Sometimes, you know, if they're an older egg, they're gonna split. And you're gonna have like, kind of like this like floating death going on. So the next thing that we're gonna do is what's known as shocking. So what shocking is that you're gonna remove all of the hot water, you're gonna replace it with cold water, and if this was vegetables, you'd even put ice cubes, okay? But, you know, I don't do ice cubes, because the ice cubes definitely will break your shells, and that'll mess up your deviled eggs, and we don't want that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pour off the hot, so bear with me. Interlude, interlude, interlude. So I've poured off all of the hot water. I've now got it covered in cold water, and I'm just going to let it sit there. And the reason that I'm not putting ice on it is because, you know, Frigigeddon, we lost all the ice. So Poor Fridge has actually made a couple of batches of ice, but I used it up making iced tea. So Poor Fridge doesn't have any ice right now, so I can't shock the eggs with ice. So anyway, so back to Dad. So Dad has this interlude between working for Aerojet and working for Western Gear. Now, Aerojet, like I said, had a lot to do with World War II, you know, post World War II and Vietnam era, you know, aerospace and military and a bunch of other stuff. And then he ends up going over to this company called Western Gear. Now, Western Gear was a company that made gears. So they made, you know, like if you've ever seen guys jumping out of helicopters, like on, you know, like rescue guys, and they have like a gondola, and they put the sick guy in the gondola from the car crash in the middle of nowhere, and then he gets hoisted back into the helicopter. That was my dad's hoist. So, and then the other thing is like with UPS, and they have these things called igloos, and all your stuff goes in the igloo, and they push that into the big jumbo jet so that it can fly across the country so you can have your shit for tomorrow. His company made those rollers that go inside the airplane so that the big igloo could get pushed. So that's what Western Gear did. And the last project that he worked on was the Osprey. For those of you who aren't familiar with the Osprey, it's a vertical takeoff airplane. And for the longest time, I had a poster of an Osprey in my bedroom growing up. Yeah, other girls had pictures of the monkeys and the Osmonds, and then Boys to Men. And what did Penny have? Friggin' Osprey. Yeah, you know where this girl's head's at. But anyways, so Dad worked for Western Gear. And so in the interim between working for Aerojet and Western Gear, he had this little period of unemployment. And Dad would cook. And he took pride in cooking. And he actually had a pretty decent repertoire. But he would make interesting things. And so one day, it was my mom's birthday, and my mom was named Lorraine. And so he decided he was going to make her a quiche Lorraine for Lorraine's birthday. So he makes the quiche, which is very comparable to what is currently just finishing up in my oven. And he said, you know, and we all enjoyed it, and we're like, oh my God, this is just like so really, really good, Dad. You know, this is great. Yum, yum, yum. And he goes, damn shitload of work for a bunch of scrambled eggs. Yep, so it's a damn shitload of work for a bunch of scrambled eggs. Yeah, if you make the crust, ugh, you know, but no, it's not that complicated. You know, and like I said, people have been making quiches for forever. You know, it's like, you know, what are the ingredients? I got 6 eggs, got 3 cups of milk. You know, I got 6 eggs, 3 cups of milk, a little bit of pepper, a little bit of paprika. I got a baby onion, like a medium onion, chopped and sauteed in the bacon grease. I got the cooked off bacon that I removed the grease, and then a bag of salad greens mixed up. Cook it all together. Oh, and don't forget the most important thing, you know, a cup and a half of cheese. And then you just cook it all, and no, I don't want to talk to you right now. I got hit up for a mystery shop. Had an interesting mystery shop last night, 54th Street. Never been there before. It's like a bar, and kind of like if Cracker Barrel could be a bar, it would be 54th Street. Yeah. But you know what? We had a great little server. We had a great little manager. I gave them A+ across the board. I was so friggin' happy. It was so much better than the shop I had. Well, it wasn't really a shop. You know, we went to the Cheesecake Factory just for love. And so, yeah. So my husband found big long hair in his food. It was horrible. You know, and I told the manager, and the manager was like, you know, and I felt like such a Karen. I'm like, you know, and, you know, but, so, anyways, so our quiche is ready. So let's go grab our quiche. Just a tiny bit more. So let's get to our eggs. They're still a little warm, but they're better. They're better. They're still a little warm. So, but we're gonna show you what a hard-boiled egg looks like. So, the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna crack this all over. And I usually do this under running water because the shell bits kind of get all over everything. So. Where's my pitcher water? Oh, I put it in the sink. So, I've cracked it all over. See that? I've cracked it all over. So, you just start. It helps if you have nails. And you just start peeling it off. And there's other methods. You know, like some people put them in jars and just shake them. And then it automatically, you know, flips out. And I've also, see the membrane? Remember I tell you about that? Yeah, see, there's the membrane. And I've actually seen people that have, like, picked off, like, both ends and then blown. And, you know, you can put this in your compost pile, too. It's good. So, I'm going to rinse this off and get all the rest of the little eggy shelly bits. So, now, the last thing we're going to do is we're going to cut this open. So if we did this right, the interior is going to be completely cooked through. There's not going to be any running. It should all be pale yellow, and there shouldn't be any of that icky green. So let's cut this egg open. So there you go. A perfectly hard-boiled egg. Can I cook or can I cook? And that's 12 minutes. That's very important. 15 minutes, you're going to get gray-green. 12 minutes, perfect. All right, so we're going to pull the quiche out. And now that's how I like things. See how it's all golden brown delicious? See how it's kind of puffy? Like a soufflé. Yep, there you go. So, there's your lesson for tonight. Hard-boiled eggs and quiche. I hope you learned something. Remember, when in doubt, throw it in some water. If it floats, send it bye-bye. If it doesn't float, then it's good to go. But remember the #1 rule. When in doubt, throw it out. Okay? So if you open up that queso that's been in the back of the fridge and it's got friends, you don't eat that. Don't. I know crazy people who do. Don't. Your life is more precious than a dollar item. Yeah, remember that. Okay. So anyways, so there you go. Quiche, egg lesson, hard-boiled eggs, and we'll see you tomorrow night. And don't forget, I love you. All right. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.